Gaz and Lee believe the land this mosque is being built on was sold for £1.
You're just giving it away, isn't it? I think £1's the least someone can buy a piece of land for, so they just sold it for £1.
Actually, the land has been leased for £1 a year by the local council, not sold, under the condition that a neighbouring community centre for use by all of Stoke's residents must also be built. If it isn't, the lease can be revoked, but the perception of favouritism remains.
This is Shelton, all this is Muslim town really. Now this is like mini Afghanistan around here. This was a working class area, this was factory workers wanted. But it's sad really. It's sad to go, isn't it?
In fact, only 6.5% of the Stoke population is immigrant, mostly Pakistani.
It's not the immigration that I'm annoyed with, it's the mass of that they're actually bringing in. They're bringing in hundreds of thousands of people when there's hundreds of thousands of people, British people, that haven't got a job. So why are they still bringing hundreds of thousands of people in?
Immigration had been one of the key issues in the recent election. I wondered if Gaz and Lee's resentment towards the immigrant population was racist, and were they wrong to expect British jobs for British workers? I asked if they, like many others in Stoke, had ever considered supporting the BNP.
I don't have nothing to do with it.
I don't know much about the BNP, to be honest, I wouldn't vote for them.
I also wondered what their views were of the racist chanting I'd witnessed at EDL demos.
I mean, we've been to 3 demos now, and you do hear songs.
Idiots. But you get these idiot football hooligans or NF lads singing that just because they want to ruckus, isn't it? Like, that's the biggest problem with EDL. You open your arms to people, don't you? But then you're also open to be getting infiltrated, aren't you, as well? And this is a problem you've got to try and get rid of, but I don't know how you're going to get rid of it either, you know what I mean?
Gaz and Lee seemed to be disaffected young men worried about their futures. They didn't seem like hooligans, so I found it hard to see how they got caught up in one of the EDL's most violent riots here in Stoke, in January this year.
Right, it's time, lads, finish your part and we'll go. Come out the pub, basically.
And we knew that it was going to be a big one.
Yeah. It was good, mate. Good atmosphere at Stoke. I thought it was brilliant myself. Like,
this is like football, but it's not football. Come round the corner, it's like walking into an abyss. Police everywhere, kettling us in, pushing us in. That was it then, it was more pushing this way, then it was pushing that way, and people wanted to get out. You know, obviously a lot of people lost the rag then. And then I think that's just when it just kind of kicked off big time.
What would you say is the balance between people who want to turn up and have a fight with someone, and they want to turn up and just, you know, sing the songs you want to sing?
Stoke, I'd say 50-50, wants it like. But that's not what it's about, is it? You know, I mean, the police aren't the enemy at the end of the day. If you channeled all that energy into something useful, you know, you get somewhere, wouldn't you? You know, I mean, big shame, I think, big shame was.
This is it. The minute they fucking hit somebody, that's it, they've had it.
It was becoming clear that the EDL were not a unified group of essentially tolerant people, but a ragbag of factions, some of which are more racist and right-wing than others. As this footage recorded by an EDL supporter suggests, it's a confusing picture, even for the EDL.
Oi, don't shout BNP, boys! No, we're not the BNP. Shut the fuck up, lads. It's EDL, right?
The EDL's next demo was in Bolton. Would the violence continue, or could the political message begin to emerge? Bolton prepared for the EDL. Everyone was advised to stay away. The town centre was effectively on lockdown by the time the EDL arrived.
Cops along the side, and along the side. Make sure they don't break the lines.
This isn't even the main group. This is one group we've been told to go to the square now, and this is massive. This is bigger than anything I've seen so far. Much bigger. Flag, an Israeli flag, an Indian flag, and a rainbow flag. So I'm guessing it's from a gay or lesbian group here with the EDL.
Earlier that day, United Against Fascism members broke police lines and occupied the town square where the EDL was supposed to congregate. Over 50 of them were arrested and removed so that the demo could go ahead.
I am not doing anything wrong, I am a
For some, arguments about racism or Islam were irrelevant. It was clear that they were here for much more personal reasons.
I think the UAF are wrong. The way that they shout Nazi, Nazi, Nazi scum at us. We're not Nazis. We're English people. There's nothing here for us. The people and the working class. White English men of this country, a lot of us out of work, millions of us out of work, we're not being listened to. And the mainstream political parties aren't listening to us. We're poor, we're stuck in poverty, it's a poverty trap. All we want is work, and that's all we want. We've got no voice. The country's dying of death. Dying of death. I don't want to say anymore because I'm getting emotional. Do you want to see me cry? Do you want to see a tear roll from the side? Because that is what will happen.
I saw a familiar face towards the front of the crowd. It was Kevin Carroll from Luton.
What would you say to the UAF who would say, there's a sign there that says EDL and BNP Nazis?
That's just a funny one, isn't it, really? That's rubbish. EDL Nazis. Yeah, right, just look around you. You know, I don't see any Nazis. I don't know any Nazis.
I had seen and heard racism at every demo I'd been to. Some of the things I'd heard were so offensive that we decided not to broadcast them. And they were offensive to all Muslims, and no one nearby did anything to stop them. I wanted to know how Kevin felt about the hateful language I'd heard.
There are some songs here, you dirty smelly bastards, there are elements here.
Yeah, listen, do you know what it is? I mean, if there is, I haven't seen or heard any myself, but if you can't legislate. It's a free country. If people want to attach themselves, I mean, National Front were at one of the demos, and all the lads towed them up the backside and jogged them on, because you can't stop.
Gurumit was still being pushed forward as the respectable face of the EDL and the voice of its leadership. But just a few weeks earlier, he'd been secretly recorded by a national newspaper that quoted him making a highly racist remark. Today, the message was different. He was very keen to claim that the EDL were in fact not racist.
Claim they are racist right-wing bigots, but we all know that they are wrong. There is no room for the British National Party's views and members in this organisation. Their racist opinions are not welcome here, because we are righteous, we are humble, we will be loving and we will be forgiven, yet never forgetting we are warriors. We are protectors of all religions, colours and creeds of this land, because we are the English Defence League.
Despite it being a largely peaceful demo for the EDL, something caused demonstrators to surge towards the front lines. The riot squad was sent out, and they started pushing the EDL away from the town square. Tempers began to fray.
The riot police just started pushing the EDL back.
Fucking dirty bastards! Cheating fuckers! We're getting beaten up! What's the crap? We just want our country back! EDL! EDL! EDL!